guys, Adam here as usual, hope you're all well. I've been asked about a 6-string versus a 7-string and why have both, why not just have a 7-string, because it's got all those 6 strings, right? So first of all, what's the real difference with a 7-string? Essentially what you're getting is 5 extra notes in standard tuning. So those people who say, oh, there's a massive new kind of, there's a whole load of added range, there's not. There's basically 5 notes: E flat, D, D flat, C, and low B. I think I've actually got this tuned down to A. So having it in drop A would give you 7 extra notes. But in standard tuning, you basically got 5 extra notes. So that's all you've got. However, you can do a lot with 5 notes. Take the pentatonic scale, for example. The real question though is, why buy a 6-string guitar that's more or less identical, similar kind of idea anyway, if I've already got the 6 strings the same? Why not just ignore the 7th string? Well, first of all, there's a couple of reasons why that doesn't work for me. One is probably due to poor technique, but I find it quite difficult to really dig in on that E string. You know, the band I'm in, Armatura, it's kind of melodic, thrashy, power metal-ish kind of thing. A lot of low E chugging, gallops and that kind of thing. And I find that I like having I want to hit that low string really, really hard. So I like having all that extra room to really swing in like you can do with the low B here. It's just a little bit harder to do and hit kind of the 2nd string as opposed to the 1st string. The second thing is frame of reference. So on a 7-string, you can think of this as 2 ways, frame of reference. So it depends whether your frame of reference goes from top to bottom or bottom to top. So if it goes from top to bottom and you take the high E string as your frame of reference, then the rest of the guitar, it doesn't matter if you have 9 strings, 10 strings, whatever on the bottom of the guitar, your frame of reference is always going to be the same. But if, like me, and I'd argue probably most people, you take your frame of reference from the lowest string, so normally from the E string, then your whole frame of reference is just thrown off a little bit by adding this extra string. It's kind of like a 0 string or a -1, and it's a little bit, it just throws off your frame of reference. Having this extra string actually just kind of puts you off somewhat. Third thing is to do with, especially the Strandberg, is to do with the guitar construction. So the 7 string has a slightly different scale length to the 6 string. So the 7 string scale length is, I believe, 26.25 on the low B to 25.5 kind of standard Fender scale length on the high E. A really subtle kind of fanning, and the neutral fret is about the 12th or 13th fret. The neutral fret's probably about the 12th fret, so that's the kind of the straight fret, if you like. The neutral 1.0, and the rest are all kind of slanted accordingly. On the 6 string, the scale length is 25.5 Fender scale down to 25. So there's only half an inch of scale adjustment. Where that it's set up is the neutral fret is kind of at 1, and then you get progressively more fanned as you go down the neck. But the main reason for having both a 6-string and a 7-string in the same guitar is just because genuinely Strandberg guitars are absolutely awesome. So that's probably the main reason. All the frame of reference stuff, all that kind of thing, don't get us wrong, it is really, really important. You want to be as comfortable as possible. If you're not going to use that low string, you don't want it getting in the way. That said, the bass player Steve in Armatura, he uses a 5-string bass, and we've not got any material yet where he needs to drop down kind of onto the 5th string, and he finds it works perfectly fine. So it's probably a technique thing and a mental thing more than anything. But yeah, if I'm playing 6-string music, I just like to be looking at a 6-string. Hope that answers your question, man, on 6 strings versus 7 strings. Essentially, the technique of playing is exactly the same kind of thing. The real bulk of the question really was, why get a 6-string if you already have a 7-string? And hopefully I've answered that question. Until next time, guys, take it easy.